Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtu Prayeshu Patreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtike. So continuing with our discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 7, what Prahlad learned in the womb. Text number 29 onwards. So Prahlad Maharaj is giving wonderful philosophy to his batchmates. Tatropaya sahasrana mayam bhagvat oditaha yadishware bhagvati yatha yaranjasarati. Of the different processes recommended for disentanglement from material life, the one personally explained and accepted by the Supreme Personality of Godhead should be considered all perfect. That process is the performance of duties by which love for the Supreme Lord develops. So the disentanglement from material life. So last verse we studied, your duty is to, Prahlad Maharaj saying, O sons of demons, your duty is to take to Krishna consciousness, which can burn the seed of fruitive activities artificially created by the modes of material nature and stop the flow of intelligence in wakefulness, dreaming, and deep sleep. So how to do that? By taking to the devotional service. Among the linking processes that elevate one from bondage to material contamination, the one recommended by the Supreme Personality of Godhead should be accepted as the best. That process is clearly explained in Bhagavad Gita, where Lord says, Sarva Dharman Parityajya. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. This process is the best because the Lord assures, Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. There is no need to be worried, for the Lord himself assures that he will care for his devotee and save him from the reactions of sinful activities. Material bondage is a result of sinful activity. Therefore, since the Lord assures that he will dissipate the results of fruitive material activities, there is no need to be worried. This process of understanding one's position as a spirit soul and then engaging oneself in devotional service is therefore the best. The entire Vedic program is based on this principle, and one can understand it as recommended in the Vedas. So the whole Vedic program is what? To get us out of this material entanglement. That's all. Not to keep us here. Not to keep us here eternally and let us suffer and Krishna will laugh at us. No, see how they are suffering, rotting in hell or rotting in the material world. No. He's our loving, well-wishing, we can say friend or father, whatever we want to call him. But he's our loving friend. And he wants us to be out of here. So he has given different processes. Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Hatha Yoga, ultimately is a Bhakti Yoga. And this is what he says, Sarva Dharman Parityajya, forget about everything else, just surrender unto me. But our problems, we don't. And Krishna himself says, don't worry, I'll take care of all the reactions of sinful activities. Because of the sinful activities, we take birth again. We go through the cycle of birth, old age, disease, death, adi bhautik, adi atmik, adi daivik, klesha. This is, don't worry, I'll take care of everything. Just surrender. And Prabhupada, in one of his lectures, he said, how long does it take for a person to surrender to Krishna? He says, one moment. As soon as we make up our mind that Krishna I'm surrendered. That's it. Of course, the testing will be there. I'm not saying the testing won't be there. Testing will definitely be there. Maya is there to test whether we are really surrendered or just lip service. And also to make sure that we are eligible to enter the spiritual world. But that's how the process starts. And also Prabhupada said one place that sometimes we think devotional service is very difficult spiritual activities. He said, so do you think living in the material world is easy? That is impossible. Living and suffering in the material world over and over again. This is just craziness. That's all. Okay, we have to work little hard to get into spiritual world. Fine. But living in the material world it's not easy. It's completely impossible. It's intolerable. So let's keep that option out completely. So all we have to do is work hard. Work hard, work on our chanting, work on our services. So we develop some love for chanting or love for the service, even if we don't have love for Krishna. At least we have developed love for the service. That is as good as loving Krishna. But that's what we have to work hard on that. And Prabhupada further writes, unto those great souls who have implicit faith in both the Lord and the spiritual master, all the imports of Vedic knowledge are automatically revealed. One must accept the pure devotee, the representative of God, as one's guru, and then offer him all the respects one would offer the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is a secret of success. For one who adopts this method, the perfect process is revealed. In this verse, the words Yaranjasarati indicate that by offering service and surrendering to the spiritual master, one is elevated to devotional service. And by performing devotional service, one gradually becomes attached to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because of this attachment to the Lord, one can understand the Lord. In other words, one can understand what the Lord's position is, what position is, what our position is, and what our relationship is. All this can be understood very easily by the simple method of Bhakti Yoga. As soon as one is situated on the platform of Bhakti Yoga, the root cause of one's suffering and material bondage is destroyed. So what is the root cause of one's suffering and material bondage? That is, actually it starts from ignorance, but it's a desire, our material desires. This is clearly explained in the next verse, which gives a secret of success. So here is a secret of success given by Prahlad Maharaj. Guru Shushrusya Bhaktya Sarva Labdharapanena Cha Sangena Sadhu Bhaktanam Ishwararadhanena Cha Shraddhaya Tat Kathayam Cha Kirtanar Gunakarmanam Tad Padam Buruh Dhyanat Talle Rokshanar Hanadibi. One must accept the bona fide spiritual master and render service unto him with great devotion and faith. Whatever one has in one's possession should be offered to the spiritual master, and in the association of saintly persons and devotees, one should worship the Lord. Hear the glories of the Lord with faith, glorify the transcendental qualities and activities of the Lord. Always meditate on the Lord's lotus feet and worship the deity of the Lord strictly according to the injunctions of the Shastra and Guru. So all the activities are here. With faith, one should serve spiritual master and the saintly person, and association. So sadhu sangha, worship the Lord, hear the glories of the Lord with faith, glorify the transcendental qualities and activities of the Lord. Always meditate on the Lord's lotus feet. So Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, everything is come. Worship the deity. Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma, Nivedana. Everything is there. In the previous verse, it has been said that the process which immediately increases one's love and affection for the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the best of the many thousands of ways to become free from the entanglement of material existence. It is also said, Dharmasya tattvam nihitam guhaya. Actually, the truth of religious principles is extremely confidential. Nonetheless, it can be understood very easily if one actually adopts the principles of religion. As it is said, Dharmam tu sakshat bhagvat pranitam. The process of religion is enunciated by the Supreme Lord because He is the supreme authority. This is also indicated in the previous verse by the word Bhagvat Uditaha. The injunctions or directions of the Lord are infallible and their benefits are fully assured. According to His directions, which are explained in this verse, the perfect form of religion is Bhakti Yoga. And this is also explained by Prahlad Maharaj, who is one of the Mahajans, one of the 12 authorities. To practice Bhakti Yoga, one must first accept a bona fide spiritual master. Srila Rupa Goswami in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu advises, one's first duty is to accept a bona fide spiritual master. The student or disciple should be very inquisitive. He should be eager to know the complete truth about eternal religion. The words Guru Shushrushaya mean that one should personally serve the spiritual master by giving him bodily comforts, helping him in bathing, dressing, sleeping, eating, and so on. This is called Guru Shushrushanam. A disciple should serve the spiritual master as a menial servant, and whatever he has in his possession should be dedicated to the spiritual master. Pranararthera dhiya vacha. Everyone has his life, his wealth, his intelligence, and his words. And all of them should be offered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead through the via media of the spiritual master. Everything should be offered to the spiritual master as a matter of duty, but the offering should be made to the spiritual master with heart and soul, not artificially to gain material prestige. This offering is called arpana. Moreover, one should live among devotees, saintly persons, to learn the etiquette and proper behavior of devotional service. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur remarks in this connection that whatever is offered to the spiritual master should be offered with love and affection, not for material adoration. Similarly, it is recommended that one associate with devotees, but there must be some discrimination. Actually, a sadhu, a saintly person, must be saintly in his behavior, sadhva sadachara. Unless one adheres to the standard behavior, one's position as a sadhu, a saintly person, is not complete. Therefore, a Vaishnava sadhu must completely adhere to the standard of behavior. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that a Vaishnava, a person initiated into the Vaishnava cult, should be offered the respect befitting a Vaishnava, which means that he should be offered service and prayers. However, one should not associate with him if he is not a fit person with whom to associate. So many qualities are there of the Vaishnava, of a guru, and of the devotee, of a disciple. And they're more elaborately explained, nectar of instruction and nectar of devotion. So the point is, one has to associate with devotees, one has to serve the devotees, one has to take instructions, and then only we can make progress. But at the same time, one has to see whom to associate with or not. Hari sarveshu bhuteshu bhagwanasta ishvaraha iti bhutani manasaha kamastah sadhu manyet. One should always remember the Supreme Personality of Godhead in its localized representation as a Paramatma, who is situated in the core of every living entity's heart. Thus, one should offer respect to every living entity according to that living entity's position or manifestation. So Paramatma is sitting in everybody's heart, but one has to offer respect to every living entity according to that living entity's position or manifestation. It's not that we start offering respects to a tiger in a jungle. Obviously, the tiger will come and eat us. Paramatma is sitting in his heart, but Paramatma is there in our heart as well to guide us properly. Hari sarveshu bhuteshu. This statement is sometimes misunderstood by unscrupulous persons who would wrongly conclude that because Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is situated in every living entity is therefore Hari. Every living entity is not Hari. They're just part and parcel of Hari. That's right. Such foolish persons do not distinguish between the Atma and the Paramatma, who are situated in every body. The Atma is a living entity and the Paramatma is a Supreme Personality of Godhead. The individual living entities, however, is different from the Paramatma, the Supreme Lord. Therefore, Hari Sarveshu Bhuteshu means that Hari is situated as Paramatma, not as Atma, although Atma is part of Paramatma. Offering respect to every living entity means offering respect to the Paramatma situated in every living entity. So when we offer respect, and that's why in Vedic tradition, even if we don't just bow down and offer respects, which we do in ISKCON, in Vaishnava tradition, but even in the Vedic tradition, we say Namaste. Namaste, Namate. I am offering respects to you. But who are we offering respects to? Paramatma sitting in that entity's heart, not to Atma. So Namaste, that's what actually it means. But then, first of all, we don't even know the meaning of Namaste. And now it has become, hi, what's up, how you doing, whatever. And also, if we keep on saying Namaste properly and understanding the meaning, then we should be able to see Atma and Paramatma in that living entity. At least theoretically we know they are two different. And why to Paramatma? Because Paramatma is expansion or one of the aspects of the Supreme Lord. Prabhupada says one should not misunderstand every living entity to be the Paramatma. Sometimes unscrupulous persons designated living entity as Daridra Narayana or Swami Narayana, this Narayana or that Narayana. One should clearly understand that although Narayan is situated in the core of the heart of every living entity, the living entity never becomes Narayan. So we are not going to become Narayan. Evam nirjit shadvarga kriyate bhaktirishware vasudeve bhagavati yaya samlabhyate ratihi. By these activities, as mentioned above, one is able to cut down the influence of the enemies, namely lust, anger, greed, delusion, madness, and jealousy. Kama, krodha, lobha, mat, matsarya. And when thus situated, one can render service to the Lord. In this way, one surely attains a platform of loving service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As mentioned in verses 30 and 31, one's first duty is to approach the spiritual master, the representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to begin rendering service to him. Prahlad Maharaj proposed that from the very beginning of life, Kaumara Acharita Pragya, a small child should be trained to serve the spiritual master while living at the Gurukul. Brahmachari Gurukule, Vasandanto Guroritam. So this will come later on. This is the beginning of spiritual life. Guru Padashraya. By following the instructions of the Guru and the Shastras, the disciple attains the stage of devotional service and becomes unattached to possessions. Whatever he possesses, he offers to the spiritual master, the Guru, who engages him in Shravanam Kirtanam mission. The disciple follows it strictly and in this way learns how to control his senses. Then, by using his pure intelligence, he gradually becomes a lover of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as confirmed by Srila Rupa Goswami. So, control his senses, following the instructions, then slowly, one becomes a lover of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because that is the goal of life. In this way, one's life becomes perfect and his attachment for Krishna becomes positively manifested. In that stage, he is situated in ecstasy, experiencing bhav and anubhav, as explained in the following verse. So when one comes to that stage, bhav and anubhav, which is very high stage, and that is a stage of Prahlad Maharaj, as we studied earlier. He would think of the Lord and he would start crying. He would see the deity and he would start crying. He was at the stage of Prema Bhakti, or at least Bhav Bhakti, if not Prema Bhakti. So he was already at that stage by following the instructions of Narad Muni. Nishamya karmani gunana tulyan Viryani lila tanubhi kritani Yadati harshotapulka shrugadgadam Protakantha udgayati rauti nrityati. Aha. One who is situated in devotional service is certainly the controller of his senses, and thus he is a liberated person. When such a liberated person, the pure devotee, hears of the transcendental qualities and activities of the Lord's incarnations for the performance of various pastimes, his hair stands on end on his body, tears fall from his eyes, and in his spiritual realization, his voice falters. Sometimes he very openly dances, sometimes he sings loudly, and sometimes he cries. Thus he expresses his transcendental jubilation. So this is what is going to happen when one comes to that stage of love. Then he cannot control his senses. These are the ecstatic emotions. They just show up. Ashta Sattvic Vikar. That just happens to the devotee. Sometimes he will start crying, his hair stand on the end, tears fall from his eyes, his voice falters, he openly dances, he sings loudly, and sometimes he cries. And there are other symptoms also. There will be sweating on the body, and other symptoms. Ashta Sattvic, eight kind of vikars are there. The Lord's activities are uncommon, means they are superhuman. For example, when he appeared as Lord Ramachandra, he performed uncommon activities like bridging the ocean. Similarly, when Lord Krishna appeared, he raised the Govardhan hill when he was only 7 years of age. These are uncommon activities. Fools and rascals who are not in the transcendental position consider these uncommon activities of the Lord to be mythological. But when the pure devotee, the liberated person, hears about these uncommon activities of the Lord, he immediately becomes ecstatic and exhibits the symptoms of chanting, dancing, and crying very loudly and jubilantly. This is the difference between a devotee and a non-devotee. And actually both of them, devotee and a non-devotee, call each other crazy. Non-devotees say, what are you guys doing? This doesn't make sense. Just like when we serve the deities in the temple, then we serve them just like he's a person. He's a person, a supreme person, but nevertheless a person. And we want to serve him like he is a person, with love, with giving so much of paraphernalia, dressing, flowers, and jewelry, and the bhogas, different types of bhogas in a day, and arati, and this and that. So many things go on. But who's a non-devotee, he doesn't understand what's the principle behind all this. What are the emotions? What are the sentiments behind all this? So for them, it's just a murti. Why are you so crazy about an idol of stone or metal or wood? This is nonsense, according to them. But for devotees, this is the life. This is it. Nothing exists beyond that. And that is why, although it might be the desire of Lord Jagannath himself, I cannot comment on that. But many years back, when I used to go alone for Rath Yatra, and then one year Abhishek Prabhu, Radha Prabhu, and myself, we all three went because they heard that we can go on the chariot and embrace Lord Jagannath, or we can massage him. We can just pray to him, embrace him tightly, and do whatever. It was allowed, and that tradition was there for many, I don't know how many centuries maybe. But after that, and that was the last year when it happened, and Jagannath being very merciful, he allowed us on the chariot. And we went on the chariot multiple times. But after that, he stopped. Okay, there could be some court cases by Shankaracharya and whoever sided to stop this tradition. And the court gave the orders to stop it. Now, for a devotee, what else he wants from the Lord? What is he going to do? The Jagannath is there. What is he going to do? He's going to take the deity and run away? Not going to happen. What is he going to do? All he's going to do is embrace and pray to the Lord and tell his personal either problems or the desires. And that's all. And the Lord loves it. And just imagine when the chariot would come, stop in front of Gundicha temple, and Lord will be there for whole day, because evening time the chariot would come, and next evening the Lord will go inside the Gundicha temple with all his whatever the rituals are there. And he's the Lord of the universe. The rituals are also very grand. So, but rest whole day and whole night he would be on the chariot outside Gundicha temple. All three chariots, Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra. And the devotees could go on the chariot, embrace the Lord, and fall at his feet, or massage him. And legs of people would go. And as we know, Lord Jagannath, during this Annavasar period between Sanan Yatra and Rath Yatra, they take time, the Pandas take time to paint the Lord, to restore the paint of the Lord. And they don't use chemical paints or acrylic or enamel paints. No, that we use outside Jagannath Puri on the deities, not in Jagannath, not in the main deities. They all use natural paints, pigments. So the Lord has just come out, freshly painted. And here he comes outside Gundicha temple, and legs of people are coming, climbing on the chariot, hugging him, falling at his lotus feet. And this is a time when it is very humid in Jagannath, very, very humid. And people come, and they all are sweating. Everybody is sweating. Even the pandas standing on the chariot, they are sweating. And we come and we embrace Jagannath with that sweaty body of ours. But Lord still allows it. And even his paint would again be all messed up with our sweat. But he used to allow. And the devotee they just feel very jubilant. That I hugged Lord Jagannath. But non-devotees, they just cannot understand this. They will say, oh, it's an offense against the Lord. The Lord is allowing it. He is allowing his devotees to come on the chariot and do this service. So this is the difference. The non-devotees just cannot understand. Yada graha grasta eva kvachidda satyartha krandete dhyayati vandate janam muhu vishwasan vakti hare jagatapate narayane atme matir gatatrapaha. When a devotee becomes like a person haunted by a ghost, he laughs and very loudly chants about the qualities of the Lord. Sometimes he sits to perform meditation. He offers respects to every living entity, considering him a devotee of the Lord. Constantly breathing very heavily, he becomes careless of social etiquette and loudly chants like a madman, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, oh my Lord, oh Master of the universe, oh Jagannath. When one chants the holy name of the Lord in ecstasy, not caring for outward social conventions, it is to be understood that he is Atmamati. In other words, his consciousness is turned toward the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that is the chanting. That's what we need. Whether we chant like that on our japa beads or whether we chant like loudly in a kirtan, that's what we need. Not caring for outward social conventions. Of course, we don't want to be a nuisance either. But when the kirtan is at that level, we understand that devotee is in Atmamati. And this Prahlad Maharaj is saying because these are his realizations. It's not. These things one cannot learn. These things are realized. When a devotee becomes like a person haunted by ghost, this is what is going to happen to all of you, to all of us. Tada pumana mukta samasta bandhanas tadda bhavanu krita shaya kriti nirdagda bijanu shayo mahiyasa bhakti prayogena sametya dhokshajam. The devotee is then freed from all material contamination because he constantly thinks of the Lord's pastimes and because his mind and body have been converted to spiritual qualities. Because of his intense devotional service, his ignorance, material consciousness, and all kinds of material desires are completely burnt to ashes. This is a stage at which one can achieve the shelter of the Lord's lotus feet. And because his mind and body have been converted to spiritual qualities. Just like Prabhupada explained, it's also explained in the purport. Because of his intense devotional service, his ignorance, material consciousness, all kinds of material desires are completely burnt to ashes. Wow. When that day happens in our lives. When a devotee is completely purified, he becomes anya bhilashita shunya. In other words, all of his material desires become zero, being burnt to ashes. And he exists either as a Lord's servant, friend, father, mother, or conjugal lover. Because one thinks constantly in this way, one's present material body and mind are fully spiritualized, and the need of one's material body completely vanish from one's existence. An iron rod put into a fire becomes warmer and warmer, and when it is red hot, it is no longer an iron rod, but fire. It might look like an iron rod, but it acts just like fire. Similarly, when a devotee constantly engages in devotional service and thinks of the Lord in his original Krishna consciousness, he no longer has any material activities, for his body is spiritualized. Advancement in Krishna consciousness is very powerful, and therefore, even during this life, such a devotee has achieved the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. This transcendental ecstatic existence of a devotee was completely exhibited by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In this regard, Srila Madhvacharya writes as follows: Tad bhava bhava tad yatha swarupam bhakti kechid bhakta vinirtayanti gayanti cha yathepsitam kechit tushnim japanti eva kechit shobhaya karina. The ecstatic condition of devotional service was completely exhibited by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who sometimes danced, sometimes cried, sometimes sang, sometimes remained silent, and sometimes chanted the holy name of the Lord. That is perfect spiritual existence. So that's what we need to do. So we need to perform our devotional service, the Vedhi Sadhana Bhakti, following the rules and regulations very, very strictly, very nicely, not committing any offenses, just carry on. And slowly, 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 when the iron rod, our heart is like iron rod. It's so hard. But it's put into the fire of bhakti. And slowly, 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 it will become hard. It will become like fire, right? Like that, just like that bhakti. It won't be iron anymore. It will be soft. It will look like fire. It might act like fire, but it will be soft like butter. That's a contradiction right there. But that's what bhakti does. Adhokshaja lamba iha shubham atmanah sharirina samsriti chakra shatanam tad brahma nirvana sukham vidurubudhas tato bhajadvam hriday hardishwaram. The real problem of life is the repetition of birth and death, which is like a wheel rolling repeatedly up and down. This wheel, however, completely stops when one is in touch with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In other words, why the transcendental bliss realized from constant engagement in devotional service, one is completely liberated from material existence. All learned men know this. Therefore, my dear friends, or sons of the Asuras, immediately begin meditating upon and worshipping the Supreme Super Soul within everyone's heart. Generally, it is understood that by merging into the existence of Brahman, the impersonal feature of the Absolute Truth, one becomes completely happy. The words Brahma Nirvana refer to connecting with the Absolute Truth, who is realized in three features: Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagwaniti, Shabdeti. One feels Brahma Sukha, spiritual happiness, by merging into the impersonal Brahman, Because the Brahm Jyoti is the effulgence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yasya Prabha, the impersonal Brahman, consists of the rays of Krishna's transcendental body. Therefore, whatever transcendental bliss one feels from merging in Brahman is due to contact with Krishna. Contact with Krishna is perfect Brahma Sukha. When the mind is in touch with the impersonal Brahman, one becomes satisfied. But one must advance further to render service to the Supreme Personality of God. For one's remaining merged in the Brahman effulgence is not always assured. So when one merges in Brahm Jyoti, all these Jnanis, that's their aim is, but the Prabhupada says the transcendental bliss one feels by merging in Brahman is also because Brahman is part of Krishna. It's one of the aspects of Krishna, but it's not the full-fledged Krishna or Bhagavan. So we get some satisfaction, some happiness, and that happiness is basically because there is no material distress or distresses of the material world. The real happiness one is looking for is not there. So that's why even from Brahman effulgence, one can fall down. As it is said, Aruya Kricharena Padam Padam Tata. One may merge in Brahman, feature of the absolute truth, but there is a chance that one may fall because of not being acquainted with Adhokshaja or Vasudeva. Of course, such Brahma Sukh undoubtedly eliminates material happiness. But when one advances through impersonal Brahman and localized Paramatma to approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead in relationship with Him as servant, friend, parent, or conjugal lover, one's happiness becomes all-pervading. Then one automatically feels transcendental bliss, just as one becomes happy seeing the shining of the moon. One acquires natural happiness upon seeing the moon, but when one can see the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one's transcendental happiness increases hundreds and thousands of times. As soon as one is very intimately connected with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one surely becomes free from all material contamination. That's what we want. So the transcendental happiness of being in contact or being in touch or being in relationship with Supreme Lord is millions and millions of times more than Brahman happiness. And Srila Rupa Goswami says that if a Brahmananda, the happiness, the bliss of merging in the Brahman effulgence, were multiplied 100 trillion times, not million, not billion, trillion, 100 trillion, it would still not equal even an atomic fragment of the ocean of transcendental bliss felt in devotional service. So what a comparison. There is no comparison. One who is transcendently situated at once realizes the Supreme Brahman and becomes fully joyful. He never laments nor desires to have anything. He is equally disposed toward all living entities. In that state, he attains pure devotion service unto the Lord. If one advances further from the Brahma Nirvana platform, one enters the stage of devotion service. The word adhokshajalambam refers to keeping the mind always engaged in the absolute truth, who's beyond the mind and material speculation. This is a result of deity worship. By constantly engaging in the service of the Lord and thinking of His lotus feet, one is automatically freed from all material contamination. Thus, the words Brahma Nirvana Sukham indicates that when one is in touch with the absolute truth, material sense gratification is completely nullified. And even when the desire, the inclination also goes away. And that's also when Krishna's help comes into picture. If after engaging in devotional service, one still has some remnants of material desires left in him, then Krishna frustrates him, and so he himself forgets. So Krishna, then he has to pull him by his shikha, come back. This is his love. Why? Because he wants to give us. He wants us to enjoy the supreme happiness. Not some. And this is what Prahlad Maharaj will say later on about the sex pleasure. It's a tuchhavat. It is just so abominable. Like rubbing two pieces of skin. What's the big deal? Kvati prayaso asura balaka hare rupasane sve hrudi chitravat satah swasyat manah sakhyura shesh dehinam samanyatah kim vishayopapadane. Oh, my friends, sons of the Asuras, the Supreme Personality of Godhead in His Super Soul feature always exists within the course of the hearts of all living entities. Indeed, He is the well-wisher and friend of all living entities, and there is no difficulty in worshipping the Lord. Why then should people not engage in His devotion service? Why they are so addicted to unnecessarily producing artificial paraphernalia for sense gratification? He is equal to all. He loves everybody, and there's no difficulty in worshipping. Why people don't take up this process? Because the personality of Godhead is supreme, no one is equal to Him and no one is greater than Him. Nonetheless, if one is a devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Lord is easily obtainable. The Lord is compared to the sky because the sky is vast, yet within the reach of all, not only of human beings, but even of the animals. The Supreme Lord, in His Paramatma feature, exists as the best well-wisher and friend, as confirmed in the Vedas. The Lord, in His Super Soul feature, always stays in the heart along with the living entity. The Lord is so friendly to the living entity that He remains within the heart so that one can always contact Him without difficulty. One can do this simply by devotional service. As soon as one hears of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna Kirtan, one immediately comes in touch with the Lord. A devotee immediately comes in touch with the Lord by any or all of the items of the devotional service, Shravanam, Kirtan, Vishnu. Therefore, there is no difficulty in coming in contact with the Supreme Lord. Ko ati prayasa. On the other hand, and this is Prabhupada is saying that on the other hand, going to hell requires great endeavor. Doing devotional service is so easy. One doesn't need any money. Anything one can chant, one can hear, anybody can chant. But going to hell requires great endeavor. Okay, how? If one wants to go to hell by illicit sex, meat eating, gambling, and intoxication, he must acquire so many things. For illicit sex, he must arrange for money for brothels. For meat eating, he must arrange for many slaughterhouses. For gambling, he must arrange for casinos and hotels. And for intoxication, he must open many breweries. Clearly, therefore, if one wants to go to hell, he must endeavor very much. But if he wants to return home back to Godhead, there is no difficult endeavor. And not just for illicit sex, he must arrange for money for brothels. So first one has to work hard to make money. And to work hard, one has to study or run some business or do something, work very hard to make money, to be eligible to make money, and then work hard to make money, and then spend that money on prostitutes for illicit sex, or for meat eating, or spend that money on liquor, buying the liquor, or for gambling. Why? And after working so hard, one goes to hell. Where's the logic? But to go back to Godhead, there is no difficult endeavor. To go back to Godhead, one may live alone anywhere, in any condition, and simply sit down, meditate upon the super soul, and chant and hear about the Lord. Thus, there is no difficulty in approaching the Lord. Adanta gobhiravishatam tamisram. Because of inability to control the senses, one must go through great endeavor to go to hell. But if one is sensible, he can very easily obtain the favor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because the Lord is always with him. By the simple method of Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, the Lord is satisfied. Indeed, the Lord says, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam. If one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, a fruit, a water, I will accept it. One can meditate upon the Lord anywhere and everywhere. Thus, Prahlad Maharaj advised his friends, the sons of the demons, to take this path back home, back to Godhead, without difficulty. And as we studied earlier also about that Brahman, who would just meditate upon the Lord. And in his meditation, he would bring water from all the different rivers and in wonderful pots made of gold and studded with diamond and other jewels. And then he would cook elaborate items for the Lord and offer him in golden plates and bowls and spoons, because everything was going on in his mind. He was making everything, elaborate arrangement in his mind. And the Lord accepts it. Lord accepted his devotional service, even though he was doing everything in his mind. Can we even imagine our wife or husband, or if somebody has a girlfriend, oh, I'll take care of you, I'll provide everything that you want in my mind. Would they accept it? Would they be happy? No. They'll say you're faking it, you don't want to, you're cheap or this or that. But the Lord accepts everything that we want to do for him, even within mind. Even if somebody just has a desire, my Lord, I want to come to Vrindavan, and he leaves the body, the Lord still accepts it. At least he had the desire. Ajamil was chanting the name of his son. He was calling his son. He wasn't calling Narayan himself. But Vishnuduta showed up. This is the mercy of the Lord, and this is the potency of devotion service. It's so potent because it pleases the Lord. So all we have to do is carry on with more determination, more resolution, our devotion service. And tomorrow is Ekadashi, and we remember how last Ekadashi, which was Nirjala Ekadashi, we all were doing a japathon, chanting so many rounds, even beyond our capacity, we were chanting. And this Ekadashi also, I'm not expecting everybody to do 64, but we can chant as many rounds as we can. We can chant. We should chant. So we'll stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments. Okay, so you all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Jai